Hit record. All right, so we're recording, and I will go ahead and pin my video so that when we share the recording, you guys don't have to be on there. Well, let's see. I'm gonna pin mine because right now Jenny's the one that's pinned. All right. Okay, so welcome everyone to our what does it mean to be a regulated CEO conversation? So a lot of you are part of my Facebook community and you have been for a while, and it's had several different renditions, different ways in which we've called that group. I think it started out as the Goddess Magic Club. It's been the Rooted Wild and Free collection. It's been the Moon Body and Wisdom Cycles, and I feel like it just keeps evolving as I get to evolve in my journey and what I'm feeling that women actually need right now and how we can have better conversations. The root of it has always been I wanted to create a community for women to talk about the things that nobody else is talking about, the things that maybe we have, the concepts, the ideas that maybe we have seen as like taboo in society, or the things that maybe the other moms aren't talking about, the coworkers aren't talking about, because they're those topics that are just kind of like, oh, I'm not sure I should talk about those in person. And I just really wanted to create spaces where we can all come together and not feel weird about talking about the real stuff, because the real conversations are what get us out of wherever we're at and help us recalibrate and integrate and come up to a better version of us. And it doesn't mean that the version of us that we have right now that you're joining here today is, bad or awful. You're exactly where you're supposed to be in your journey. And it's always good to seek more and to seek more peace and more ideas and, just bounce things off. So I recently renamed the group to the Regulated CEO because I really have a passion for teaching women how to, create in their bodies in a way that is a little softer, a little like, I can exhale at the end of the day. I am not going to bed with a to-do list a mile long, and I'm not going through my day just checking off a list of to-dos of the things I feel like I should be doing. And so today's conversation, we're going to just talk about what it actually means to live as a regulated CEO. Like, what the heck does this mean? What do I mean when I say CEO? Does that mean I have to be like the head of a large corporation or a business? Do I have to run my own business? The answer is no. We'll get into that in just a second. But it's really just to have this conversation and talk about like, hey, what are we doing here? And how are we going to change the trajectory of our lives, and not just our lives, but our kids and the generations that come after us, so that we have a different approach, and an approach that is going to hopefully keep us a little bit more sane and expanding and growing in all we do. So, but before we do any of that, let's just take a moment. Like, you're all here. Some of you are joining from your cars, you're joining from work, you're joining from a break at work, you're joining in the middle of the day. And I just want to say thank you for showing up here today. And let's just place our hands on our heart. And if you're driving, please do not do this, but just, take in the moment and do some big, deep breaths. When I teach people how to do big, deep breaths, I teach like in through your nose. And as you're pulling in through your nose, you're expanding out your belly. It's a big, big belly breath. In through the nose, and you expand out your belly, and out through the mouth. And you pull your belly in. In through the nose and expand out your belly, out through the mouth, and let it all out. Give your shoulders a little bit of a roll. Just bring yourself into this space. You're here and you're part of the conversation. And so it's so much fun to have you here. So if you have not found the chat feature, go ahead and find it. I want this, like I was saying, I think I said this, there was a couple of you that weren't on, and it was before I hit the record button. Make sure that this conversation is for you. So if you have questions, if you have ideas, like, I want you to be popping them into the chat. I didn't plan anything formal for this. I just wanted to share some thoughts on my heart that have been kind of milling around, and to really teach you what it meant to be a regulated CEO. So find that chat button. And if you're listening to the recording later on, just jot down some notes and then send me an email, send me a text message, whatever. Find me on social. You know where you find me. And just ask your questions there, or ask your comments, or what was that aha moment that you had today. So the first thing, let's talk about what does it mean to be a regulated CEO? Like, what the heck do I mean by a regulated CEO? And, I went back and forth on, should I change the group to CEO? Are women going to feel excluded if they don't feel like they're a CEO? And the name just kept landing on my heart. In fact, I tried to trademark it and get a website on it, but apparently it's already taken, so I don't get to do that. So it's only our Facebook community that gets to have this name. But I really it just landed for me, and I had some of the women that have been joining lately. They're like, "Hey, I've been following you for a while, and I'm joining now because I really like that name, the regulated CEO." So what does it mean to be a CEO? So what I would love for you to do is drop it in the chat. Like, the first thing you think about when I say regulated CEO, like, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Like, what's that first thing that you're like, oh, this is what's intriguing about it. This is what is whatever. Like, what does it mean for you when I say a regulated CEO? Because I want to know. Because when I first hear the word, right, and I want to put this in your heads, but when I first hear the word, I think like suit and tie and big business and working in a corporate environment is what I think of. That's what I think of. Brooke says, well balanced, well adjusted, someone who isn't totally controlled by their emotions. Yeah, I like that one. That was good. That was good. A decision maker. Love it, Megan. I love that so much. Okay, so managing themselves and others. Yeah. Becoming a boss of your life. Yeah. That's exactly what I meant. Take control of their own destiny. Doesn't just let things happen, but makes things happen, right? And so we're all CEOs. If you're in this group, you are a CEO, because women, we are decision makers, whether that is a decision maker in our work that we're doing, in our home, like the kids' schedules, whatever it is for us, we're all decision makers, right? There's probably like we're all balancing. How many of you feel like a lot of times you're balancing like a million plates and you're trying not to let them drop throughout the day, and you're like trying to figure out, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, right? And I have to do this. And some of us are entrepreneurs, and some of us are business leaders, and some of us are moms, and some of us it's a combination of all of it, but we're like living in this CEO role. And regulated to me is that we're doing it in a way that is balanced, right? That we're making things happen, but we're not making them, like, we're not forcing them. We're not doing it in a controlled way. And this is where I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey. I know the ones that are on live, you kind of know what my background is, but I was in corporate America. I was part of that CEO ladder that I kept trying to, like, go to the top, go to the top, go to the top, right? And I got there and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like being the last one to drop, or the first one to drop my baby off. I don't like being the last one to pick him up. I don't like the constant juggle, because I was checking off the boxes, but I didn't know what it meant to be regulated. And this was a long time ago. This was before I even knew about essential oils. I had no idea what the nervous system was. I did not know what non-toxic living was. I was like in this little naive bubble, just going through the motions, because nobody talked about this stuff. Now, everybody at work talked about how they were exhausted. Everybody at work half of the day around the water cooler talked about what are they going to have for dinner that night. Everybody talked about their kids' activities, and I was like, I haven't even got to this. And so I decided to make a change. And when I made the change, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I stayed at home with the kids. And then I was like, I'm not quite sure I like this either. And that's when doTERRA found me, and I started sharing essential oils. And I shared essential oils in a way that was, oh, there's like a fly in here. In a way that was like how I had worked in corporate America. Grind, grind, grind. Don't worry about your body. You don't have time to work out. You don't have time to eat healthy, right? It was more about these, like, this is how you have to do it. And I was told over and over and over again, maybe you're in doTERRA, maybe you're in social cells, maybe you're in whatever, that to create success, you have to do it this way. Or you have to want to rise to the top. Or you have to want to retire your husband. Or you have to want to quit your job. And we're told all these ways in which we have to do it, right? And before we know it, it's kind of like this gremlin pose. It's like this. Right? And I want you to ask yourself, where in your life right now it feels like you're in this like gremlin pose. You're like, oh, I'm going through the motions because I have to. It's what is expected of me. And for many of us, whatever career we're doing it because of the decision we made when we were 18 years old on what we should have gone into, right? Like I got a business degree from Iowa State, so I had to work in corporate America, right? Or I have a teaching degree, so that means I have to teach. Even if it's sucking my soul out of me, right? I have to teach. Or I have to work in corporate America, or I have to do this. And we end up having all of these have tos because that's what we're told. I was recently having a conversation with a lady, one of the members of the community a couple weeks ago, and she says to me, she's like, I think I've just gotten to the point where I feel like crap, but I allow it to happen because it's what everybody around me is calling normal. I've just deemed it normal that I feel like crap, or normal that I'm always running behind, or normal that I don't have a libido, or I don't feel good in my body, or you insert whatever it is. We've started to say all of these things are just normal because everybody around us is doing it. Is that landing for anybody right now? Like, what's something you could write out right now where you're just like, hey, this is where I feel like I'm just kind of spinning, like this just feels heavy in my life. Or this is what I want more of. Amanda, you're unmuted.
Am I allowed to talk?
You are totally allowed to talk.
I can't really text right now. Um, yeah, this was totally resonating with me because I definitely have spent a lot of years. I mean, I'm still relatively young, but I feel like in my 20s, caught myself like in this midlife crisis at 25, feeling
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And um, also just like really taking into consideration like what I was doing, being like really intentional with what I was doing. And throughout the last like 8 years or so, I have become so in tune with myself and self-study
Mhm.
and I'm constantly learning. But I had recently made the choice to go into like a corporate role again because I
Mhm.
have been trying to start this business for the last couple years, and I've been like working for somebody else and trying to create my own brand. And it really came down to like I had to make a decision because I got
Mhm.
to a point where I was like, all right, are you in or are you out? And this corporate job offered me a lot of money, and I was like, oh dang, I can get ahead, I can get real ahead, so but as soon as I walked into that office and that environment, I like felt the toxicity. I like
Mhm.
felt the burden of like people just are not like. And so it's kind of like I've been just really exploring finding the people who are in this space like you are, who
Mhm.
are like more supportive than and wisdom, and trying to like, because when you are one person against gravity, it's like I need to find more people who are like me, who are like you, who are in this
Mhm.
space of this believing in the fact that you have to take care of yourself, and
Mhm.
you have the choice to take care of yourself. You choose to wake up every day and be a regulated CEO so that you can live in this state of bliss, in this state of life today, so that
Yes.
you're not waiting at heaven's door saying, I've made it to heaven. Why are we not in heaven right now?
Yep.
Why are we not walking along this path that we are here to be created? So I guess that's what the aha moment was for me. So I just love seeing how you have evolved over the last decade, and and being more, regulated. And I have also become more regulated. So it's just awesome to be here. So thank you.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's super fun. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. Brooke, you think you're unmuted right now too?
Yeah, I It's really interesting, all those things you said, Amanda, because I think it's true too, just finding your people at work. But we had every week we have a question of the day in our staff meeting, and the one this week was, what would you do if money was no object? Like, what career would you do if it didn't matter what it paid? Um, and one of my coworkers and I had, I mean, we haven't stopped talking about it in the last like 2 days because everyone's was so attainable. They were like things that you could totally go do right now. And people are maybe waiting till retirement to do that. And it's like, how can we do little pieces of that here, even if you can't quit your whole job or um I don't know. It's just interesting how much we maybe dream about those things or don't allow ourselves to dream about those things. And that I don't know. It's been really interesting to see the people around me reflect on that in the last couple days.
I love that. I love it when we ask those questions and they have so many layers. The answers have so many layers. So we just keep going and going and going with the answers to them. Let me read what Jenny put. We're allowed to take care of ourselves. Giving myself permission, even though I might be shamed for putting myself first as a teacher, has been so empowering and necessary for me to sustain the occupation, right? Like being a regulated, and here's the thing, we all get to decide what we do. Like working in corporate America isn't a bad thing, right? It's learning how to do it in a regulated way. And I didn't have the tools when, I was getting started in corporate America. I didn't have the tools because as women, most of us, our ideal of success isn't our own version of success, right? We're shown success in a way our male counterparts create success. And our bodies are created completely different, right? So the same 24-hour cycle, the seasons that a woman goes through, that same 24-hour cycle, a man goes through it in 24 hours, we go through it in 28 days. Did you know that? So that same like ebb and flow of all of the different seasons of winter, spring, summer, fall, a male goes through it in 24 hours. Let that sink in. A female goes through it in 28 to 29 days, or whatever your menstrual cycle is, or the moon cycle, however you're looking at it. And so we're shown this version of success that is completely against our bodies. And so what happens is before we know it, we're like living in this space where we're feeling overwhelmed. We're feeling, like I said, in the gremlin pose. Our nervous system is freaked out. Our hormones are a mess, but yet we don't know what to do. I asked this question in the group last week, and I want to know what you all have to say about it. If I asked you right now, in this moment, what do you need? What do you currently need in your body, in your life? Would you be able to answer that question? Like, would you be able to, if I said, Megan, what do you need right now? Now, Megan might be a little bit different. Like, Megan and I have been working together for a long time. So
What I need right now is a pillow that won't give me neck, shoulder, or back pain. That is what I'm in search of right now.
yeah, Brentwood Homes. I have one I love.
Okay, but
See, sometimes we just have,
I'm returning an expensive pillow. So I was willing
yeah,
to invest in this $120 pillow because it had a 30-day back guarantee. But I'm also like have the courage to go bring it back and say it's not working, give me my money back. And I even like that 10 years ago, I wouldn't have done.
yeah, you're like, I'm just going to bite the bill. Actually, 10 years ago, would you have even bought a $120 pillow for yourself?
No, probably not.
No, because you would have been like, oh, it doesn't matter that I have migraines all the time and my neck hurts and whatever. I'm just going to keep pushing through it because, you know, that's just how it is, right? There's all these things in our life that we just kind of like, it's just normal. It's just what it is. What do I need right now? What do you need right now for your body? Like if you asked your body, what do you need? What do I need right now? Like just close your eyes and ask your body, like, what do I need right now? Mine's going to say some chocolate. And my husband to go back to work. He's working from home right now because he had his hip replaced and he's driving me crazy. What do you need right now? Like, that's the question. And we've gotten so, like, distant from ourselves, like living in this space of disconnection, that we don't even know how to answer that question. Or if we know how to answer that question, we don't know how to actually allow the support in. And so what happens is we're living in all of these roles that we play, whether it's corporate America, whether it's whatever CEO role that you have, and we're living as this CEO without knowing what we actually need, how to call in support, how to allow support into our life. And before we know it, we're like wearing all the hats and running around to all of our kids' events. That's just normal that we have them in 20 different events at a time. It's just normal that I don't poop. It's just normal that I hit 40 and, like this is my favorite conversation when I'm sitting with women that are my age and they're like, I turned 40 and I just don't even like sex. I don't even want sex with my husband. And I'm like, it's just normal. I'm like, no, that's not normal. And it's not your hormones that are a mess that are causing your low libido. It's that you're probably pissed off at your spouse because you don't know how to allow them to help you and you're resentful. Or you're so disconnected from your body, you don't understand what pleasure means anymore. Right? Or we've got these hormone issues, or we just blame it all on everything. And then the next thing that we see is there's this world out there that's like, I've got the quick fix for you. I've got the quick fix. Just do this microdosing and you're going to lose all the weight and you're going to feel great. Right? Just do this hormone therapy. And just this hormone therapy is going to take care of all your problems. That's not the solutions I offer. So if that's the solutions you want, I'll see you later. You can just leave the call right now. I'm just kidding. Stay on. I love you all. Stay on. And I'm not saying that the quick fixes aren't what you need for a little bit, but we're not going to get to the root and we're not going to break the patterns and we're not going to shift and we're not going to actually become regulated in our body. And why? Because we're only looking at the physical. So no matter how we're being a, physical or like a regulated CEO in our lives, most of the time we've got this to-do list and it is focused in on, I need to work out. I need to eat well, right? But why are we doing those things? Are we doing them because you want to lose weight? Because somebody told you needed to eat paleo? Or are you doing them because that's what your body actually thrives on? Right? I still remember the time that I told Megan that I was doing Whole Food 30. She was like, I can't do that. That's too hard. So she cut out gluten and then she realized she was celiac. She's like, oh my God, it feels so good. Nobody had told her. She had migraines for how long, Megan? Like
Probably close to 30 years. Like
30
since
years
I was
of migraines.
second grade. Yeah.
And the main thing was that she didn't need another migraine medication. She needed to learn what her body was responding to. There's somebody else that she's not on the call right now, but she just had her first period on her own in 25 years. 25 years. She had never had a cycle on her own because her doctors just kept giving her hormone stuff. They kept triggering her cycles that gave her side effects. And yes, it gave her 2 beautiful children, but she knew her body wasn't in alignment. 3 months, remember, it's not quick and easy fixes, but 3 months, and she had her own cycle. Month 1, it was some spotting. Month 2 was a little bit more spotting. Last month, full on cycle. Because she's learning how to take care of her body, and she's actually learning how to connect into it. Not the surface stuff, not the easy fixes, because most of us have tried the easy fixes. And what happens is it goes, yo, 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 yo. And that's not living regulated. Regulated is when we come in together. Some of you have heard me talk about it as a sacred alignment, is when we look at, hey, this is what's physically going on in my body or my business, right? This is my to-do list. And we also look at the intuitive things. We learn how to connect into our body. We learn how to listen to our intuition, because your intuition is your actual superpower. It's like the medicine you leave, because all those answers that you're seeking outside of yourself, You already know them down in here. Like you already have the answers. The only thing I'm here to do is to guide you back to your answers. Right? To guide you. Like, hey, what are the tools that Emma needs to make sure she feels awesome and confident in her body? Right? She's got a sweet little baby at home. She's like, I'm done cutting hair. I'm staying home with this baby. But who knows? He might get a little older and she's going to be like, ooh, I need to figure something else out. But it's like, what do we need to be that confident, that regulated? So that we can trust, like if we have that little baby, because Brooke's got a young one too. It's like, hey, they're teething. What do I do? What do I need to take care of them? And we live in this world of this and both. And that's the cool thing is we've got the physical, we've got the energetics, but the energetics and the piece that women aren't taught is how to listen to our intuition. And that's truly what it means to live regulated, to come into this thing of like, and I'm calling it like the body led life, right? We're allowing our body to lead the way. Like maybe we wake up, like every single day doesn't have to look and feel the same. You're a cyclical being. Your body ebbs and flows with the moon, with the seasons, with the cycles. And when we learn how to do that, it unlocks another level of our superpowers. So like this week, I felt like working out and lifting heavy weights and running. Next week, I know I'm going to be bleeding. And guess what? I'll probably just go for walks in the woods. Right? I know that Megan alters her workouts as well with her trainer based on where she's at in her cycle. Like this week, I'm pretty much eating protein and fat, like very little carbs. Next week, I'll be eating a little bit more carbs. Like it actually started today because I know that my body's actually starting to crave them. So I'll add in some potatoes with my meals. I'll add in some bread or something. Because I've learned like how to ebb and flow my life. Because when we do that, we have like when we allow our body to lead and when we're connected to our intuition in our body, we feel good in our bodies. Because if we don't feel good in our bodies, do we have the capacity to like run our kids everywhere, to get home, to work all day long at a corporate job and then get home and be a present mom? We probably don't. But I can tell you this is when you are living in this space of sacred alignment, when you've learned how to live with your body, work with your body, guess what happens? You have limitless capacity. Limitless capacity to love, to laugh, to play, to do those things that Brooke said. They were all like, why are we waiting for this? My coach asked me this week, she said, what's that one thing that you really want to do right now? What is that one thing you really want to go for? Or that one thing that you really want to do that you keep saying, oh, if someday. Like, does everybody have one of those? Like, what's that one thing? And it could be in your work, it could be in your business, it could be whatever else. Alaskan cruise. I love that one for you, Megan. I think you might like Alaska more than Universal Studios. What's that one thing? For me, it was that I really want to be coaching more women because I have so much fun, like just being in conversation and the light bulb moments and the like, let's get into the nitty gritty. I'm not the mom that is like, hey, how's it going at the football fields? And then I'll start talking about like, usually it's, dryer sheets and sperm counts come up. Anyway, but I don't want to talk about the surface stuff. I want to go deep. I want to get to the realness because I know that that's where we unlock the level of us, the capacity of us that's ready to expand. So Megan wants to go on a cruise. Amanda, what do you want to do? Emma, what do you want to do? Brooke, what do you want to do? And then when you have that answer, like what is that one thing you want to do right now? What is the thing why aren't you doing it? Yeah, being present. And that might mean, Emma, like being present might be like for me, being present in my day means I have figured out, I've allowed my body to lead me in the morning, right? And that's can be a little challenging when you got a baby, right? But it could be like I'm gonna allow instead of like when he goes down for a nap, instead of tidying up the kitchen or whatever, you just go grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or some water and you just sit with yourself for 15 minutes, right? Sometimes that's the best thing. Sometimes I'm like, because that head talk is like, oh, I have to wash the bottles, I have to do this, I have to like do the dishes, I have to blah 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 blah, all these things. But the reality is, what happens though if we allow our body to lead us when we have those 20 minutes to ourselves? What happens when we allow our body, like, hey, what does my body need right now? For me, like sitting with my cup of coffee, even if I only get 5 minutes in the morning in pure silence, I don't look at my phone, I don't anything, I just like sit there and like stare off into space. That helps me live connected to myself and helps me be present the rest of the day. My morning workout, like every day it's a little bit different. Like I said, like yesterday at 9 o'clock I went and I was like, oh, I need to do this. But what happens is when I allow my body to lead me, my creativity expands, my presence expands, my capacity expands, and then I can just like drop in and get the stuff done that I need to get done, right? Because if I would like wake up and go sit right at my computer or get the kids out the door and sit right down at my computer without like doing a little something for me in between, I would probably sit and just like spin my wheels and do a bunch of shit that I didn't need to do. I would be very unproductive. Now, Brooke and Amanda, you're in corporate America. You have to figure out like, how do I make that work within the confines of like, hey, I do work in an office from 8 to 4 or whatever it is. Like my husband, he goes for walks. He actually goes to work early so that he can walk before the day starts. He can get like a 20 to 30 minute walk in before he works, or he goes to work out. Because that is what kind of connects us. It's like the workout, the whatever. And here's the thing, I'm going to tell you this. This is really fun because I'm on the flip side of my kids being little. I've got 17, 13, and 9. And especially with the 17 and the 13-year-old, because my husband and I have always made a priority in our wellness, right? We did not do this when I was in corporate America, but once we kind of like started the doTERRA path and got in, I started to learn these other ways in which to regulate. Our kids now, because they've seen us in the wellness space, their wellness is a priority too, right? So they work out, they take care of their bodies. They know that they have to fuel themselves properly after a track meet. They know how to fuel themselves properly to a track meet. Like my son, he's running track this right now. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, walk me through your fueling schedule for your track meet. Because he has to run and you can't eat a whole bunch before you run, but he has his events timed. And he's like, well, when I get on the bus, this is what I have to eat. So I can eat this on the bus and then I'll be ready for my first event. And these are the things I have in between. And then I'm going to take him his dinner to eat on the way home. Right? And that's at 13. At 13, I was eating Doritos and Mountain Dew. That was my my fuel. It's a little bit different, right? But because I'm sharing this with you because when you learn how to do this, whether you have boys or you have girls or you have no kids, you just have a circle, like it's almost like you give permission to the ones around you. You give permission. Emma, is your husband eating vegetables yet? Nope. Megan's husband has hydroponics in the basement. But does he
So he
eat them?
has them and he grows it, but he doesn't eat it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
So
Like he
Emma, I
grows.
feel your pain.
He's been doing his carnivore diet and he's down 50 some pounds, but
Oh, awesome.
it is awesome because I think he's on the heavier side
Yeah.
and he knew that. And this is terrible. I blamed his parents for that since we've started dating, and because he's drinking whole chocolate milk. At 8, we started dating when we were 18 and he was still drinking whole chocolate milk. But for me, it's hard because I'm like, well, it's not sustainable. Like, you're not just going to eat meat the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, let's start adding veggies in and fruits in. And no, it's okay.
That's so funny. I'm vegetarian and I cook most of our meals. And just the other night, a couple nights ago, my husband was like, "Oh, this is a good meal." And it was pretty quick and easy. And he's like, "Aren't you glad you have a husband that's willing to eat vegetarian?" And I rolled my eyes so hard at him of like, "Yeah, good for you. You ate the meal I made." Like, do you want a freaking medal or what? But now hearing this, I'm like, maybe I should be more grateful
Yep.
that he's willing to eat my vegetarian meals.
Yep. We allow it all in, right? We allow it all in. Okay. So that's when it needs to be regulated, ladies. So where do we start? How do we go? Like, one of the first things I do is I learn how, like, I'm going to give you some tips now. The first thing I do is I start to listen to my body, right? I start to just ask myself that question. Like, what do I need today? Every morning, what do I need today? How can I allow my body to lead in my life today? With the circumstances I have, right? And as you do this, you might start to see like, oh, this is something I can eliminate so I can allow my body to lead a little bit more. It's like this trial and error. You're not going to get it perfect right away. But you start to sit with yourself. And when you signed up for this call, you should have received a free download, a guide. That is my how to start your morning. Like it talks about what does it mean to live connected and disconnected in our bodies. Because it's not a hormone problem we have. It's not an obesity problem we have. It's not a chaos problem. It's not an overwhelm. It's that we are not. It's like a disconnection from our body problem that we have going on right now with women. Disconnected from how we were actually designed to operate. Disconnected from our intuition and our wisdom and our magic. Because guess what? When we learn how to connect in and we learn how to let our body lead and have a body-led life, a lot of the other stuff starts to dissipate. It just kind of starts to go to the side because we're not like chasing a different way of eating that works for us. We're doing what actually works, right? We're not like, we're getting out of the hamster wheel because we're like, oh, wait, what does my body need today? So that's the first thing, is figuring out what is a way to start your day in peace. Okay. Now, the second thing I love to do is my evening routine. So I want you, if you have this, I want you to write this down. I get a notebook and I just get these these little ones like this. They're just like you get them on Amazon. They're like 3 packs. And I write the date at the top and I write 3 things I'm grateful for that day. And then I write down 3 wins that I had for the day. What are my 3 wins? Like, what are some things I'm really proud of about myself that I did today? And it can be so little. It can be like, I don't know, I ate the amount of protein I needed to eat today. I got out of my pajamas. I put on a bra. Or maybe I didn't put on a bra. Maybe that's your win, that you didn't have to wear a bra today. Like, what are your wins? 3 wins. And then I put, what are 3 wins I want for tomorrow? Like, you're kind of setting yourself up for the day. Like, what are the 3 wins I want for tomorrow? And one of the things I've been writing down every single day is to let my body lead my morning. To have a body-led day. So it's 3 things you're grateful for. 3 wins for today, 3 wins for tomorrow, And then the last piece can be like, what am I handing over to God, universe, spirit, whoever that is for you, so that I can sleep well tonight? Like, what am I handing over? What am I holding on to that is not mine to hold on to? Is it a relationship? Is it a person? Is it a whatever? Yeah, the wins. And I've done this activity with my kids instead of like having them write it out, like when I'm doing their little nighttime routines. I'm like, what are three things you're grateful for today? And sometimes like little kids might be like one thing. Like, what's one thing you're grateful for? What's one thing you're proud of yourself for today? What's one thing that you want to do tomorrow? It doesn't have to be written. I like to write it down, but like for our kids and other people, it can just be whatever. We can just talk about it. I don't know, Emma, I just got a little image of you like talking to your little baby and sharing with him. Like, these are mommy's wins for the day, like during the last feeding or something. Maybe you too, Brooke. Like, hey, these are our wins for the day. This is what we're grateful for. And those are two like super simple ways to just start the connection. Just shift it. Yeah. Start the connection, start to see, and you were here today. And that's big awareness. That's big awareness, right? Okay, so one of the things, remember I said that the one thing that I was like, hey, what do I need to do? Like, what am I wanting to do? And one of the things is like, I already did it, but now it's time to like talk about it a little bit more. So a couple of weeks ago, I've had this like, forever, I've had this dream of creating additional spaces for women to really learn how to tap into their body. And so I opened up this beautiful, I call it the infinite portal of change, of remembrance, and it's called Period School. And Period School is a deeper container for me to teach you how to live cyclically in your body, meaning how to live in tune with the moon, with your menstrual cycle, because this is my other biggest piece of connection. So actually, if you wanted to go back on that little sheet that you're making for the day, right? Your gratitude, your wins, and your wins for tomorrow, you could also put on there what phase is the moon in and where am I at in my cycle, right? That would be super powerful. Because you're going to start to notice patterns because your body was made in this beautiful, beautiful way. And so a couple of weeks ago, I put all of this beautiful, awesome content into Period School, and now it's ready for women to come in and join. So we already have 10 people in there, which I'm really excited about. Megan's already in the cohort. So it's really fun. And what it does is what you get is that you get all of these modules on the different seasons with different tips and different ideas. So like, say you are in like, what do I do with the new moon? What do I do with the full moon? What do I do when I'm ovulating? What do I do when I'm bleeding? What do I do? Like, I've got it all in there, and there's a lot of resources. So you can go back, you can watch them as many times as you want. When I first decided to do this program, I thought it was going to be just like a 6-week thing. And I'm like, wait, I cannot teach people how to live cyclically and in their body in 6 weeks. So once you join, you're in for life. I'm not going anywhere with it. And so you can have those. So one of the girls, she was bleeding last week, and I was like, go in and watch the thing on bleed, because she's been in what we call the masculine energy for a really long time with competitions and her business and just so many masculine things. And she doesn't know how to take a softer approach with her cycle. It's like a foreign concept with her to slow down when she's bleeding, which for most of us it is. We're taught like push, 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 push. But there's this softness that we can embrace when we slow down. And so she went and she watched that piece on, she just went, and I'm like, go watch the new moon one. So she watched the new moon one, and she had like a lot of shifts. Okay, so that's all there. And then once a month, you get a new moon circle. So it's going to be a deep dive, and it's actually tomorrow at noon, our first one. And what it is a 90-minute session where we walk through your cycle, your calendar, and I help you create and plan out your life and your business based on the moon and your cycle. Okay, so it's like a deep dive. It's going to be like, we'll do some meditation, we'll do some energy work, some stuff like that. So you get that once a month. And then every quarter we have some other things that we put together. I'm going to do, it's kind of evolving. There's going to be a lot more to it. There's also a community space where you can ask questions at any time and all the things. So I'm going to be sending you the link to Period School if you want to check that out. If you're like, oh, I really want to live regulated, because here's the reality that I have found in everything that I've done is that we are meant to work as and live as a village. And when we allow, again, like, what do I need? Maybe when you ask yourself what you need, it's that you need a little bit more support in your life. Maybe you feel like you're a one-man island because a one-woman island because, you know, of where you live or who you're surrounded with or whatever. And that's what I wanted to create with this is like, hey, come into the village and let me help you. Let me hold your hand, because the reality is most of us know exactly what we're supposed to do, but we're just not doing it because we need the support system and we need the accountability and we need the handhold and things like that. So that's what Period School is all about. You're going to be receiving a link to check it out. Also, if you are not part of doTERRA yet, and you want to be part of Period School and do doTERRA at the same time, I have some ways that they kind of overlap. So it's like 2 for the price of 1. So if you want to explore that, just reach out. I think everybody has my information. So, and if you're watching the recording, you'll have my information that you can just reply to me. So that's what I have for today, because it's time to live regulated. We've like spent too much time living around like, I mean, you all have probably seen this in your coworkers, maybe Emma and your clients, like people just running around like this constant like state of craziness where people just don't know how to exhale right now. And maybe you're the one that doesn't know how to exhale. That's what I will show you how to do. How to exhale and not feel guilty for it. How to pause and not feel guilty. How to put up your boundaries, how to protect your energy, how to live and breathe and be regulated in everything you do. So, okay. What questions do you have? Any other thoughts you want to share? Come on, don't be shy. But I get it. It's like 1:50. We've been on for 15 minutes. Most people don't have a attention span for more than 50 seconds now. Yeah, the Period School is super exciting. I'm really, really excited for it. I'm really excited for our kickoff call tomorrow with the new moon circle, and we'll have those every single month, because that's where I get to bring, because like I loved so much corporate America and like the strategy and like the numbers and the business and all of those things. Like I loved that piece of corporate America. I loved that piece when I was building my doTERRA business. I love the strategy, the fast pace. But what I've come to notice is that, but I wasn't doing it with allowing my body to lead. Does that make sense? Like I got glimpses of it. And a lot of times I had my best success when I was like listening to my intuition. And so it's been this like unlearning to learn how to step forward. And what I call like, I mean, we all give like the word hustle a bad word. I don't think we need to give it a bad word. It's more of like an aligned hustle. Like I'm working and I'm putting intention and I'm doing something in my life because it's something I love and lights me up and I see it as my purpose. And that lands differently when I'm doing it in a body-led way. That's different than when I'm just going through the motions. Right? That's different than when I'm just going through the motions. And so when you're creating your morning routine, don't do it because you're going through the motions. Make it yours. And maybe for the guide, maybe you go through the motions for a couple of weeks to kind of see and play, but like, don't be afraid to make it your own and shift it up and all the fun things. Okay. Any other questions? Anything going on today? All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I will be looking forward to hearing from you. And if you have any questions, just reach out. Bye.